So I am recording this right now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I needed to yawn, uh, take a breath. Ooh, I was just outside walking both my dogs, and I come right back in just to sit down. So pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, uh, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Uh, this is going to be the first episode of a little nerdcore interview series that I do where I grab in a bunch of different artists from the community, do little unscripted interviews so that we can get to know one another. I felt like it's a great way to, I don't know, kind of grow the community, uh, help each other gain support, etc., etc. Uh, and our guest for the very first episode in this series is none other than Shwabadi.
Hello.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I'm always really bad with descriptions of myself. I guess I am a multi-genre producer, singer, rapper, and songwriter. I suppose that's a pretty all-inclusive description of myself. Content creator. Content creator. There you go. That's more vague.
Yeah. You prior to like prior to the more recent stuff you've been doing with Nerdcore, uh, I know you've got a lot more. Uh, Trying to think of the word. I guess the first thing that comes to mind would be experimental in a way, kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that that leaves me asking, how'd you first get started with music? What made you want to get into it?
Um, I mean, I've always enjoyed music as a listener, uh, and I guess it was playing guitar. I just really wanted to learn an instrument. I started learning guitar just self-taught, basically looking at YouTube tutorials for how to play specific songs. Then I was like, shit, I kind of want to write my own music. I wonder if that would be, fun. But I didn't really have anything to write about, so I was writing about just like making up stories and little narratives. I wasn't really talking about myself. Uh, and then I kind of fell into hip hop as a genre and rap, with kind of early inspirations like Dan Bull and Non Like Joshua. Which is really funny that kind of those are two artists I've now worked with, so 7 or 8 years after they inspired me to start it.
Yeah,
But it was really just casual curiosity and then falling into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until I wound up here.
yeah. Honestly, that's kind of how I started getting into nerdcore. Was I watched a couple of videos where NLJ had a song. I watched Dan Bull's Skyrim rap, which
Oh, yeah.
was something odd years ago.
That was the
Uh,
big one.
and like since then, I actually recently remembered this and tweeted this out, but uh, I apparently did an interview with NLJ as well, so
Mm-hmm.
this is technically not my first official interview, but that was ancient history. Uh, anyways, so one thing I want to talk about, just because I brought it up in the first recording of this interview before um, things kind of went in a downward spiral, uh, is you have an album out somewhat recent-ish enough.
Yeah,
Like this year.
this year.
This year, recent enough.
Uh-huh.
It is called The Life and Death of, and I
Mm.
wanted to kind of understand the inner workings of how that came about.
Well, that's like a fun project. It's a concept album that kind of explores my life, but kind of from a as if I'm talking about a fictional character. I talk about my origin as a musician, kind of what I'm doing and what I see in my own art, and then what I expect or what I fear from the future. I'll like be totally real. Most of the album I wrote in 2018 and 19. Finally got it recorded and finished this year. And a lot of it isn't accurate to kind of how I actually feel anymore. But it's a very good time capsule for me to
Yeah.
see what my anxieties were, what my hopes were, how I felt about myself at the time. But kind of a lot of that is something that I've moved past. But it's still I think a really solid little time capsule that explains kind of who I was, in the last couple of years.
All right. So, uh, when I first recorded talking about the album, I mentioned that one of my favorite songs was not was Origin Story, but like after a while, it's kind of shifted to I've kind of grown more partial to Underrated and Death, and I like Death because it's if you haven't noticed me constantly referencing it every time you're in a Twitch stream and something goes wrong.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I've noticed. Death is a heavy song thematically. I feel like it covers a lot of very common fears and anxieties that people have. Not just as an artist, obviously it talks about it from a musician's perspective, but I just wanted to lay down something that was very, I don't know, that people could access and connect with.
Yeah.
So I just made it as heavy as possible, basically, and it is kind of raw as possible.
And that's pretty much some of the other songs on the album. I feel like general audience can definitely relate to, at least to some degree or another.
That's always the goal. Is I make 90% of my music with something very specific in mind that I'm talking about, but I never want to cage myself in or restrict my audience when I make music. So I always try and create a level of accessibility, a level of relatability in all of my music. Even if I'm rapping about an anime character, it's like I want there to be an aspect of something in the song that people can connect with.
Yeah. Uh, the words. Uh, I was about to say something. You ever have a moment where you just blank on whatever it is you planned on doing or talking about?
Daily, multiple times.
All right, so one thing I kind of want to ask is, so we did talk about how you got started with music, but where do you feel you really got started with, like, the whole nerdcore community? Because I've noticed that uh, you were kind of under the radar until like maybe one song or another with Rustage, and then since then, more and more people have been listening to your music.
Yeah. In terms of like from a community aspect, I was kind of just doing my own thing. Uh, and I was it was all I guess it came from a kind of social anxiety aspect of, oh, these guys are in a group doing similar things. They talk to each other. They work with each other. I don't want to disrupt. I don't want to. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like there seemed like there was a little group there that was doing some cool shit, and I was on way away from it. But Rustage very much was that middleman, direct line through to collaborating with people and then just becoming friends with people like Game Boy Jones, Daddy Fat Snaps, even on like Joshua. Um, it very much was just me and Rustage have been good friends for a while, and he was kind of in with some of these guys, and I worked with him, who worked with them. So then I started working with them. So it was just Rustage being the middleman and my line through into kind of talking with people, and then eventually, somehow without me noticing, being incorporated into this kind of community.
Yeah, I've noticed Rustage has had just a pretty huge come up compared to Game Boy Jones and NLJ, especially
Mm-hmm.
especially within the last year. Uh, so he went from being that little middleman you once knew to being the man that I'm pretty sure everyone's like, you know Rustage?
Yeah, very much so. It is like he kind of found a style, found an audience, and just exploded from it. And I think that's partially because of his willingness and ability, I think, to work with lots of different people. It's why his ciphers work so well. It's why he can do them so frequently. Is because, like I say, he's always acted like this middleman. He connects people. He's kind of the bridge for a lot of different people online right now working
Yeah.
together. It's Rustage is that common denominator, that common link.
Yeah, well, off talking about him because this interview is more about you.
Oh, we don't get to talk about Rustage?
I mean, we can
You know
have.
how much I like people talking to me about Rustage. You've watched my streams.
Okay then. Speaking about Rustage, when's Sailor Moon, uh, the Sailor Moon cipher you two are working on coming up?
Sailor Moon cipher. Oh my god. Can you imagine? I feel like that would actually do really well. I feel like that would actually do pretty well. I just don't know anyone who's actually seen Sailor Moon.
I feel like if Hala CG pulled that off, she'd pull it
Mm,
off very well.
for sure. If it's anything like her, oh, what's it called? The gambling one?
Kakagori?
Kakegurui, yeah. That one slapped. If it's anything like that.
Yeah, she's also just yet another person that's definitely rising in terms of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
but again, so one thing I kind of want to get into is, I guess, less career, less stuff you're doing right now, and just more like you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, what sort of interests do you have? Like, aside from obviously music and anime.
Well, besides music and anime, manga. There's really bizarre right now where kind of since I've started work on music as a full-time job and content creation as full-time, because I recently went full-time with that, kind of my only real interests and hobbies have been making content and reading manga and watching anime. It's like all adjacent to my career right now. And I know that's not sustainable because then I'll just get tired of it. So I've been like trying to schedule myself where there are certain days I don't work at all, certain days where I just focus on different things and stuff. I've been trying to kind of limit myself so that I don't get, burned out on basically running my hobby as a profession and then just getting tired of it. That's like the last thing I want. So right now I'm trying to be interested in more things. I used to be really into gaming. I used to be really into books and collecting uh, old technology and fixing stuff up, but it kind of all got super sidelined, and I'm just like focused in right now. So right now, my interests are my work, basically.
All right. That's actually pretty fair. And and then again, what else is there really besides anime music, you know?
Yeah, true enough.
Okay, so we've talked about you getting started. We've talked about you getting into the community. We've even talked about a recent album you've got. So I guess really a couple of other things. I'd like to start with your second channel, Shwabados.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure some people you've made this joke, but I'm pretty sure some people are still not aware that Shwabados isn't your first channel,
Oh,
and you're
100%.
not a reactor.
Absolutely. 100%. I guarantee there's like a sizable percentage of my audience on Shwabados that do not realize I am a musician.
All right, so let's talk about how you kickstarted this whole side thing aside from your main channel, and what sort of stuff you plan to do with it.
It kind of just came about because other people were doing it. Rustage had a second channel, Connor Quest had a second channel, Game Boy Jones had a second channel, and they were all, either talking about their own content or talking about other people's music, and just generally it was all about having a dialogue, which is something I love doing. I love talking about music. I love pointing out things that I like and don't like about things, and opening that discussion. So I thought, well, shit, that sounds exactly just like a reaction channel. I'll just start doing reactions, and then it'll also, if there's any other projects that I could do for fun that I didn't want to clog up my main channel with, I could just throw it on there. So it'd be a perfect space for just whenever I felt like saying something about a certain topic, I could just put it up there. I wasn't expecting it to turn into kind of just the hub of reactions that it has. I kind of thought that would
Yeah.
be just a here and there situation. But it turns out reactions are really fun. So I just started doing them a lot more. And I mean, I have my other projects. I have Lyrical Miracle. I have the Shrub Analysis, which hopefully will be going on for a while longer as well. So,
And do you have anything else planned for the second channel by chance?
I always have plans and ideas for the second channel. But it's like turning those things into actual content, like realizing them is always so much more work than I expect. So I have lots of different things that I've started and stopped or have ideas for. But yeah, there's definitely more variety coming to that second channel. I think I'll wean back the reaction videos a little bit and start putting more work into it whenever I get the opportunity
Yeah.
to maybe make some more long form content, more detailed discussions. I know Connor Quest is trying to do the same thing. But right now it's kind of the balance of putting work and all my hours into the music and my collaborations and that aspect, which is, the breadwinner. That's what's paying me and letting me continue to do that. And how do I balance that with my second channel, which isn't really my income? You know what I mean? It's just that's kind of a passion project. So it's trying to balance the two right now. But I definitely have plans.
All right, cool. Words. And there goes my train of thought yet again. Anyways, so now that we've kind of gone over your second channel, which, or actually, I still kind of want to go over it while we're still on the topic. One thing that you've mentioned about your second channel, the Schwab Analysis series, is something I want to talk more about. So you started doing that. It's basically a series where you have fans submit tracks, lyrics, instrumentals, whatever, for you to review and give feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know uh, what sort of got you wanting to do that, because I know not a lot of other people actually do that, and it's something to really appreciate.
Thank you. I guess the main inspiration, the main motivation for that was there is a lot of music going up online. There are thousands and thousands of tracks uploaded online, and there's a lot of people trying to get into the same kind of scene that I'm in on, with nerdcore or with just general YouTube musicians, especially young rappers. And there is no quality control for that, obviously. It's just people producing things and putting them out there. And I just thought it could be valuable for people getting into music to actually hear a critical voice, because it was huge for me as an early musician. IBDL, I bring to Lulz, is someone I've talked about whenever someone asks me about uh, my early days as a musician. IBDL was a huge inspiration for me, not just in encouraging me to make music, but also in criticizing and telling me when I have missed the mark. And I just want to provide that aspect kind of to another young musician. If I can be someone else's IBDL and say, like, this is good, this is not, and kind of give them the drive to improve and stuff, that's kind of the main motivation. And I've always wanted to, and I always say this in almost every video, I do not want to just be this overly critical asshole who comes in and starts saying, like, oh, this is shit, this is trash, and, you know, play it up for comedy value, because that's not what the series is about. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's not, you know, me reacting to songs and making fun of people. It's me genuinely trying to improve other people, their work. So I just always fear that it's going to get kind of misconstrued,
Yeah,
because you ride that kind of thin line when you do something like that.
I guess a fair comparison would be uh, you kind of have this Gordon Ramsay image, but with music.
Yeah.
Or like, he's not
Yeah, I have heard that comparison a few
he's
times.
not trying to be an asshole. He just wants people to do better with their cooking. He wants people to make enjoyable food that tastes good and looks
Yeah, for
good.
sure.
And you're doing the same, but with music.
I would say Gordon Ramsay is a little bit more of an asshole than me, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, unless I'm just like not self-aware enough, and I'm actually, I'm just this like awful person. But I hope not. I hope not.
Okay, so we've now kind of wrapped up this whole second channel business, and I want to get back to more main content. Uh, so recently, um, I need to look at something to jog my memory real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so recently you came out with uh alright, so recently you came out with this new little My Hero song with a particular character. Uh and I feel like that's something worth spotlighting since it's your new song pretty much. Uh
Uh-huh.
so tell us more about that real quick.
The Denki song, right?
Yes.
With Cam from Video Game Rap Battles. That's a fun track. I think that track encapsulates a lot of what I do in terms of mixing my styles. I have never, and probably will never, release a song that sounds like that again. It's just, if you kind of compare my Denki song that's just come out to something like my Meliodas song that came out a week earlier, they could not be further apart stylistically. And that's something I always like to do on my channel. I never want to become predictable. I never want someone to go into a song knowing what to expect. But yeah, that's just like a fun bubblegum pop electronic crap thing. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it other than just like, I guess I just like making different stuff every week. I think that's just a good example of that.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty fair to say. Um,
Absolutely.
anyways, to everyone who's currently watching, stream. What's the song's name? I forgot.
Charge Bolt.
Yeah, stream Charged Bolt on Spotify. If you're still watching this video, 25 minutes in. Okay, so, do you have anything sort of main channel that you'd like to talk about that you're excited about moving forward?
Yes. I have another kind of non-anime rap related project. So I'm working on another album. This time a full collaborative album. It's going to be crazy. Me and Connor Quest. We've been putting together some like really stupid stuff for that album that I think people are going to enjoy. With names like Game Boy Jones, Rustage, Stupendium, and Video Game Rap Battles again. There's just like going to be a whole bunch of nonsense on that album. But for one of the tracks we're bringing out as a single, and we're actually recording a music video in a week from now. That's going to go up sometime in October. I'm just really excited to kind of, it's still within the realm of anime, nerdcore, that kind of audience. So I think people are going to really dig it, but just be ready for just goofs and laughs. It's all very tongue-in-cheek, funny stuff. So that's what I'm excited for right now.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you recently posted a video where you're asking for people to record a verse over a track you made for a song on the album.
That's actually a different album. That's a
it's-
perfect example
it
of
is.
me running too many projects at once. So I have this collaborative album with Connor. The album so I've done this open verse where you can submit a verse to me, before August 31st to get a chance to get on my album. That's not happening until 2021.
Ooh.
Yeah, but this is just me having just a bunch of things running in the background at the same time. It's the exact same thing as I was talking about with my second channel projects. It's just the amount of work that goes into them. They tend to run in the background for a long, long time before anything comes out in them.
Yeah, you're basically just on that grind all the time.
Yeah, it is 24/7.
Well, that's kind of impressive. You've got stuff planned to come out in 2021, and it's barely the end of August.
Mm-hmm. It helps to be prepared and organized and have at least an idea of what you want to be releasing in the future. When you have to plan, the kind of content that you're doing week upon week upon week, to have these big projects planned here and there, I feel like it just helps to break it up.
All right. So, another thing I want to ask is, I know that you had your whole little start, and then you look at where you are now. What would you say were some of your struggles in terms of getting to this point?
Just from kind of the perspective of an artist, I would say finding my voice, finding what makes me stand out in a way, and my style and what I can do. The whole technical aspect of music production and everything like that. You underestimate exactly how much goes into not just making a song, but making all the content around a song. It's so much little tiny details that come together to make content online that it can be really overwhelming. So kind of, I guess, gaining my momentum, finding my sound and my style, those are things that I really struggled with for a while. It's why if you look at my channel, it's like, yeah, I've been going for 8 years now on YouTube, but the content was so sporadic for the first 5 or 6 years because I just really was struggling to build that momentum and put in the effort that was required. So that's probably the major thing, and I think that's something that trips a lot of people up.
Yeah. I've noticed that with a lot of other artists, even Dan Bull definitely has started small, and then you look at him now, and he's the biggest nerdcore, or probably just the biggest YouTube rapper on the internet currently. He's got few million subs.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked recently.
I'm not sure if he's the biggest. I think
He's
Nerd Out is slightly bigger than him. I'm not sure. I
he's
very
definitely
rarely
up there.
check numerical things, but for sure he's one of those names that is like
Yeah.
everybody knows who Dan Bull is.
Pretty much everyone knows artists like Ear being Nerd Out and Dan Bull, but
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that they struggled for like their first few years trying to
of course. Yeah,
get somewhere, and that's pretty much common for just about anyone.
yeah. I think everyone in this platform comes from the same place. We all started making content at various levels of quality. We all have the same starting place. Some people got a little bit lucky, and that propels them forward. But no amount of luck is going to sustain a career. People like Epic Rap Battles, Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd, people like Dan Bull and Nerd Out, they have not gained a career from being lucky. You know what I mean? Like maybe there was a certain bit of luck in what songs went viral or whatever, but that's not a career. They've built a career from consistent hard work, and there's nothing else you can say there. That's just the truth.
Yeah, and that's yet another reason I like the whole Schwab analysis series, because in a way you kind of the sort of feedback you help provide is what helps people sort of find their voice quicker and grow faster as musicians.
That's what I hope. That's what I've always hoped. Yeah.
That's what you hope until uh, people just give up on music and re-upload other people's songs.
And there is that.
Alright. Which that was an experience in its own on that series, which I thought was hilarious. I'm sorry, I just wanted to talk about that just for a quick second. Because you honestly, until then, you never really know what to expect with that whole series. And like since then, you've been doing a lot more vetting for your tracks, it seems.
Yeah. I've got Connor Quest, very graciously donating his time to go through the songs submissions and weed out any that aren't worth kind of addressing. I just feel like if I didn't have someone vetting them, number one, a lot of like weird stuff might slip through, and I don't really want that,
Yeah.
like the song thief kind of stuff getting into the series. But also just, I feel like I've said so much in this. I mean, the series is up to 16 episodes tomorrow. The 16th episode's gone live, and I've already said so much about so many songs. I don't just want to be reiterating the same points. So Connor is thankfully
you don't
pulling out the
wanna
ones that I can actually say something about.
you don't want to say the exact same thing for 10
Exactly,
different things. Which Connor Quest is an interesting person. He's probably one of the best lyricists around in the community, wouldn't you say?
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He really is.
And I know that you, him, and Rustage have more than anyone else. Y'all three are usually like the triple threat when it comes to collaborative works. You've been doing a lot of projects together. If it's not a duo track, it's all three of you on the same exact track. How'd that in itself come about?
Uh, I don't know. We just kind of formed a trio. We have a group chat on Discord, which is just where we send lyrics and verses, and we just we critique each other. We send music to each other. It's just like a little feedback circle. I think that's what it started off as. Is just us sending stuff to each other because I respect Rustage and Connor. You know what I mean? Connor respects me and Rustage is the other way around. So it's like it just works where we know what the other people uh like and don't like. We respect their opinions, so we just started sending things to each other, and eventually we just started working with each other. I don't know where it came from because, like I said, I've known Rustage for years, but I only started talking to Connor in February of this year, and I literally only messaged him because I'd heard him on a few tracks before, probably ciphers, and it was my Mirio song. I was finishing my Mirio song. It was going live in something like 3 days, but I only had one verse, and I was like, I can't write another verse for this. So I messaged Connor. I was like, hey, do you think you can write a verse in 24 hours for a Mirio song? He did, and it was really good. And then ever since then, I just kept coming back to him and saying, could you do this? Could you do that? And he did the same thing with me. And I think it's just all three of us like each other's styles so much that it just, and we know that all three of us can get things done quickly, consistently to a certain quality that we just trust each other and we just work together a lot. Um, which is when I came up with the idea of the Demon Slayer trio. I was like, I know the other two that need to be on it. And then Rustage obviously was doing the Naruto trio. And I was like, I know the other two people that need to be on it. And it just kind of become a thing where now we keep planning these trio raps just because
And
we know they're going to be a certain level of quality because we know what to expect from each other.
and then another more recent track that y'all did together is uh, the My Hero trio with like Deku, um, Bakugo, and Todoroki, which you were on two different My Hero trio tracks in the same weekend.
Yeah, that was just happenstance. I was obviously we'd planned the My Hero trio with Connor for a little while, uh, which we'd all record and wrote our lyrics for, and it was something like it was like Wednesday night when I got a message from Cam, VGRB, and he said, "Look, I need someone to rap this Bakugo verse for me because someone dropped out of this project. It needs to be done before Friday or whatever." I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll do it. And he sent me the lyrics. I just rapped it, and then it just happened that basically within the same day, I think actually they came out, or maybe within the same 24 hours, whatever. I was the same character on two songs with basically the same format, and it was just like that was just a fun coincidence. There's a lot of like weird little coincidences that happen within this community when you're releasing weekly content. Like randomly, 3 Avatar ciphers will come out within a week of each other. No prior planning. Absolutely no prior planning. Pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Always we're releasing songs that are similar to each other or that have the same characters or something by complete happenstance.
Yeah. Funny that you mentioned the whole Avatar thing. There was maybe a literal dozen different songs same week or two that was just Avatar songs. Hala, you,
Yeah.
Rustage, Freest,
Daddy Fat Snap,
Nerd Out.
CG5. Yeah.
Pretty much the whole roster, aside from like maybe Game Boy Jones and then LJ, was like, oh, I think even Game Boy Jones released something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That was an interesting week.
It's just a hot topic, wasn't it? Everyone was jumping on that.
Speaking
but again, it's because it's trends. You know what I mean? People are trying to stay relevant, please the algorithm. So you jump on trends. So Avatar starts becoming a hot topic because it got back on Netflix. Everyone wants to make an Avatar song. It just, those kinds of things happen.
And as we're talking about Avatar, that's also what's playing on Spotify currently is your Avatar Cycle Cipher.
Hell yeah.
Alright. So Just one last thing before we end up kind of wrapping things up is I want, uh, for those out there who don't already know, how do you come up with the name Shwabadi?
Oh, so this is a frequently asked question. And it's really funny because I think a lot of people expect some sort of like meaning, or I'm like, oh, it means this. It's a Thai word, and it means friendly god, and it's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. It's complete gibberish that one of my friends came up with when I was in high school. It was literally, I needed something to input into the leaderboard, like the high score on a flash game, and I was like, I don't have a cool nickname. My name's Mark. It's only one syllable. I can't do anything with that. And my friend just said, what about Shwabadi? I was like, okay, Shwabadi. And I just phonetically typed it out, Shwabadi. Done. Locked in for the rest of my life. It's literally
Yeah,
since like age 12. That's just been my name.
that's honestly, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So,
sure there's probably a few other people out there that have had that same exact experience. Like it sounds like something so what's the word? It sounds it sounds like something so, I guess, unique is the word, but
mm,
at the same time, like any other any other artist, content creator probably was like, you know what, I like this username, I'm gonna use it for everything.
yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that there's probably like so many people uh, whose kind of artist names just come from like usernames, forum names, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then thinking about it, there's like Rustage, that's just his name. Connor Quest, that's just his name.
And Quest, it was Connor Rapper, and then
It was Connor Rapper, which
for a
is
while.
one of the worst names. It's one of the worst names. Kind of that I've seen as a music alias. It's really bad. So I'm really glad he changed it.
Yeah, I know for like a while, apparently no one said much of anything uh, until it got brought up by one person, and then it really hit, and then he had this whole identity crisis.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd like to work on wrapping things up here. Um, is there uh, one of the one of the things I want to do with this whole interview series is to get to know, obviously get to know uh, the artists I'm interviewing, but also sort of expand upon the community and highlight other people as well. So, with that in mind, is there anyone in the community that you'd like to shout out that you believe deserves a little more attention than they are currently receiving? Like anywhere between one
Yeah.
to three people.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to do that myself with a bit of music, spread um, a bit of awareness about other artists that I've heard of that don't get much exposure. So probably Free Soul, Breeton Boy, and Freest. Three of like my favorite artists right now that really very few people know about. So I brought them on my own tracks, kind of semi recently, and I've tried pushing their music a little bit. So definitely those three.
Yeah. I've definitely seen them around, uh, especially in your Twitters, your Discord server, uh, which everyone, Shwabadi here has a Discord server that y'all should look into joining.
Join the community.
Yeah. Which is kind of how I actually I met Freest on Twitter. Freest is someone I want to talk about for like a few seconds since you brought him up. He's definitely really good. I've listened to a lot of the stuff that he's been putting out recently. And I can't wait to hear more stuff from him. So definitely shout out to Freest, Breton Boy.
Yeah, he's another one of those crazy lyricists. He has such good writing. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, Freest
He's
has
very clever.
Freest has that sort of. He's got that Connor Quest style of lyricism, but he does it in sort of a fun, upbeat, kind of just kind of poppy kind of way. At least
Yeah, he's also very, very funny.
yeah.
Everything he does is very lighthearted, which I enjoy.
Like when he's all up in your Twitch streams throwing out puns with Lyndon and I, where it's been forearm strokes for the longest, and we've got to think of something else because that's eventually gonna get old. All right. Well, I definitely enjoyed having you on this call, doing this interview, and giving me your time. If it's not obvious, huge fan. I look forward to more interactions, more listening to more content, seeing where things go in the future for you, you know?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And now that we're kind of wrapping things up, is there anything you'd like to say to sign off?
Just stream my album on Spotify.
Yeah.
Show me some support there, because that's usually appreciated. Always support the weekly content, obviously, but support the bonus content, support the non-anime rap, support whatever an artist does. You know what I mean? Just please.
Yeah.
Please show some love to my other music.
Yeah, definitely stream The Life and Death of on Spotify as many times as possible because it's a really good album.
Thank you.
And we will see y'all next time after Shwabadi is Connor Quest.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to be watching that.
And that pretty much wraps up this interview. And
Sweet.
yeah.